Now, before we start today's video, I don't feel great, that's why I'm zipped up to the last. I'm still very, very heavily flued, but jobs have to be done. And one of those jobs today is to get the calves back into this chute. Reasoning being is, do you remember that calf we had the trouble with a bit of pneumonia way back a couple of weeks ago? That calf made a full recovery then. But in the last week or so, I've noticed it coming up to the trot, fairly empty, just not feeling itself like the rest of the calves. And yesterday then it was over, and I was checking them yesterday. I actually came back over last night and checked them again, and I noticed a big swelling on the side of his face. So it could have an actual bacteria infection or something actually stuck in his mouth. So we're going to get them in now. I want to do a few jobs in a minute. I want to dose them for worms, and I want to clip their tails. But we'll talk about all that when they're in the chute. I have no help today. I'm on my own, and it's starting to rain. Lovely, and I didn't bring a hat. I'm me flued. Don't even say it. Oh, it's starting to teem now. Lovely. I'm going to set a fence up across to here and over to that post there. I'm going to just hunt the cows in that backfield, straight across the yard here and into the crush. And today, because I've no help and I'm not feeling great, I'm going to use my powerful weapon, which is the click of the fingers, to do the whole job for me. And there we go, fence up. What I'm going to do here actually is I'm going to hook off this gate, because this gate likes to open into the field and then the cows have to go around it to come out. So if I can open it, yeah, just take it off, they might come out easier. Come on, you girls. You can see I have them well trained. That's the beauty of having them nice and tame. Much easier to work with. So there is 37 there going out. You can see she's emptier. Just not as good as the rest of them, but we'll get a look at that jaw in a minute when we get her in and see what's wrong with that. Now you don't run up along the hedge. There's always one. There we go. In you get. That's better. They're on after the grass now, you see, and the grass is so wet it just leaves their dung a bit more loose, and hence the reason then they do it on their tail, and then their tail gets heavier, then they can't lift their tail, it becomes a real mess. So it's a nice time just when you have them in to run the clippers over them and just clean that up. It works wonders for them and they feel much more comfortable for doing it. Go on, go on, go on in, go on in. Shh, 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 shh. Come on, come on, come on. There you go. Now, I say it over and over again, if you treat them right from day one, they're so much easier to work with. You see how easy that was, and that's the way it normally is, no matter where we're taking them from. One-man operation, I don't need anybody here, just take me time. And they're in now, and they're in now, and they're happy there. Not a problem came with them, they're not galloping or going mad. They can sense that nothing bad's going to happen to them. So they're happy enough to go in there. I know different breeds can be a lot rougher. Yes, absolutely. There's times you can do nothing about it, but when you do take it a little bit easier, from day one, they will develop a trust with you, and that trust will benefit you massively in years down the line. These pegs off for starters. Clippers is here, batteries for camera. Well, I'm just going to pull this quad over closer to where I'm working because I have a lot of stuff sitting there. It can make my life a wee bit easier. Up you girl, yeah. Yep. You can see now the way the curved wall works. That's a bit of a tongue twister, but it does work. It makes it so much easier for getting them up into the crush. So I'm not going to actually dose them today. I'm going to wait till Nicole's here helping me, because we're testing next week for TB, because Nicole will be here giving me a bit of a hand, so we'll do them then. But for now, what we'll do is we'll just clip their tails, check them over, and we'll also see what's wrong with this calf. Yep, battery's fine. A bit of oil. Ready to rock. Oh. No, Bo, you stay there. Right, Bo, your turn. Now, this is Bo. You all know Bo. You remember when she was born if you follow on the channel. If you don't, you can look back on other videos and you'll see the whole history of her. She is a character, but she done seriously well. She's a really good animal. I'm very happy with her. Definitely be using some straws very similar to her again, because I just like the whole feature of her and the way she's shaped and everything. She has a real nice posture to her. Now, when I say she's a character, she's a bully. That's exactly what she is. She's an absolute bully. Interesting when she goes into the parlour what she'd be like. Not wild or any that kind of crack. She knows what she can do, and if she can do it, she'll do it. But a good animal. Really happy with Bo's performance and how she's done. Never had an issue with her from the day she was born. Good, solid, strong animal. Now, here is the girl herself, 37. Now, 37, if you remember back, not that terribly long ago, she was in with pneumonia. You remember the panting and all that crack? Well, she's okay now, she's out of that. One thing I did notice about her ever since is she doesn't fill herself. And I noticed the bottom of her stomach seems to be not pot belly now. It seems to come out a little bit on both sides, on the very bottom, like there was something lying on the bottom of her stomach. Never just looked right, ever since she had that. But every other symptom she had with pneumonia, the bit of noise that was coming from the far side of her lungs here, that bit of bubbling, that's all gone. It's all cleared up. She's relatively healthy. But I did notice this here on the side of her face. Now, if you look dead on at the side of her face and look to this side, quite normal. But you see the rise on the other side. I'm hoping you can see that on the camera. It's a bit overcast today. I think you can see it there now. So I'm going to have a look to see what that is. It could be just a little bit of a bacteria infection. If it is, then she probably will have a little bit of a temperature. But one thing I do know about her is she's empty. She shouldn't be empty like that. So there's something going on with her, something that has to be sorted. So now I'm going to open up her mouth, have a look inside first to make sure there's nothing in there, no kind of foreign object or something stuck on the side of her jaw that could be causing the whole problem. Another thing I'll check is her teeth to make sure her teeth is okay and there's no issue with them. When I handle this, it's not hard, but it does seem to have fluid in it, so it's probably just a little bit of an infection. It would cause a calf to be very uncomfortable eating, naturally enough, so I'm going to give her an antibiotic for that. I'm going to have a quick word with the vet. No point in getting him out because she's no way critical or anything like that, and he will be out in a few days' time anyway. So I'm going to get his advice on what I could start treating her with and tie her over until the actual test comes up. Now, just speaking to my vet about her. He treated this calf before and he knows the situation with her. She was treated about a month ago for that pneumonia, if you remember. And do you remember I mentioned about this bubbling that used to be going on behind her left shoulder as well? Well, he said there's a couple of things that could be, and it's pointing very like one of them in particular. And one thing he did notice as well when he was here was her stomach. Now, animals can have different shapes. You can always find an abnormal looking stomach on an animal. But this just looks a bit funny, and it just does not look right. It leaves her empty looking the whole time, but the bottom of her stomach seems full. And I've always been concerned about that. And that started when the pneumonia kicked in that time. So his theory is, so this here is probably a bacteria infection or an abscess. And he thinks she could have an abscess in her liver or kidneys. Probably her liver, he says. And what can happen is, because you've had this problem even with the shoulder as well, you clear up one abscess and it can come in another place. And it can clear it up and it can come in another place. And keep moving around because the original abscess is actually in her liver. And it's very, very hard to cure that. Best protocol, he said to me, is rather than getting a really expensive antibiotic and going full whack at it, is to get something like Penstrip, give her about 20 cc's of it, and then for the next 6 days, give her a small top up all the time. So keeping the antibiotic into her all the time. And he said after you use that first bottle, if you don't start to see an improvement, then it's not looking good. He's a clever guy, he knows his stuff, and he's been right 100% of the time before. So I'm after giving her 20 cc's of that. We're in every single day for the next week, and I'll give her a small dose of it, just over a longer term, and see what that does. Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm hoping it'll have a good outcome. that's it, that's them all done. There was some shocking heavy tails there, so there's no more dirt on the tails. They'll be a bit more comfortable for that. So we'll see how it goes. I'll give you an update as it goes along. Right now it's pouring rain, so I'm going to get these back into the field. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Up, up, up. Fields are getting mucky. I move the trot every second day now, but they are getting wet. Fields are getting wet now. We're getting a lot of rain this last wee while. Another thing that's going to be happening very, very soon is our cows are going to be going in. Definitely going to be going in at night. Fields are wet and our grass is gone. Nothing's coming back now, so yeah, really looking forward to that. Just going for the cows. It has rained an awful lot since we done that job on them calves this morning. The ground is definitely getting wet. It's put a new perspective on things now to see it the way it is. Before we go for the cows, new merch. Our new merch finally came to us there this morning. We got a lot of stuff for the kids and things just to wear ourselves. There's no point in you guys buying something you can't actually see, so this is just one of them. I picked this colour myself. I like the orange and the black. One bounces off the other, so I like that colour. And you can also get this one in a dark grey and orange as well. So just one of the many things we added to the shop. Another thing you might notice, the I Farm, We Farm is changed now. We added the I in gold and the We in gold, with then the green that normally comes up at the end of our videos. The reason for that is I Farm, We Farm basically stands for I'm farming and you guys are watching me. So I Farm, We Farm. We're doing it together. And that's kind of the reason of the name, and that's the reason why we wanted to highlight the I and the We, if that makes sense. Not too bad yet, but they're drowned looking. They look all like the time of year. So they're not making too much a hand of ground yet. They made a wee bit of a hand up here now, so they did last night. That wasn't great, I didn't like to see that. But otherwise, they're still okay, they're still getting their fill. You see there's no strip grazing fence here now at the minute. And we don't want them to damage ground anymore, so we're giving them the full field. We're not really using strip graze fencing anymore. We might in a couple of the bigger fields, but not here. They ate that whole field today. If we had to put a fence in the middle of it, yeah, probably would have done them, but they would have done twice the amount of harm, just for the sake of one extra grazing. Part of what I really focus on my channel is being honest as I can. And we have a big problem this year with our cows, and in fact with our heifers as well. We have too many knotting calf. We've had a problem that's very big this year. I thought 2 years ago when we started vaccinating for leptospirosis, I talked about that on the channel before, that would have helped us with our issue of some cows not going in calf. Last year we had 4 cows not in calf, and look, that's fine. I didn't mind that. There were young cows, which wasn't great, but it's still all right. That wasn't a massive problem. This year we have 6 cows not in calf, and we have 2 heifers not in calf. That's a problem. That's a pretty big problem, and it's very, very annoying. So we're going to have to find out what's going on. We've had every test done under the sun. Our cows are healthy. Our cows look healthy. So we really don't know if it's down to genetics or what it is. The thing about it again is it's the young, good cows that are giving trouble. The older ones are perfect. To be honest with you, there's a very good chance you could see a bull back in our farm next year. I don't want to have to do that. And if it is, it's only going to be an Angus. We won't let it Friesian about the place. It'll be just something that we'll run with our heifers and then let them in with the cows later on, just to kind of clean up. So it's something we're looking at, and I've never thought I'd say that again, but we need to have our conception rate much better than what it is now. It's fallen down. This has been the worst year I've ever had. So we've done blood tests and things like that, and there's nothing standing out that should be causing a problem with fertility. It is an issue, and there's not many would tell you that there's so many of the cows not in calf. Look, it's all right. We'll get by as long as no more surprises kick in, because we do have enough of heifers to replace them to keep the numbers where they are, and still have a couple left over that we can pick through the cell. But it's not the way of doing things. We should be picking out the older cows, or the cows we want to move on, not having to get rid of cows because they're not in calf. So yeah, an issue. Now this girl here, this is the one that had the twins. You remember her? She's old, she's as healthy as can be. We didn't put her in calf this year, and I nearly wish now I actually did put her in calf, because she always goes in first time, never an issue with that cow. She's always a battler, and a bag of milk that you'd never see. 543, if you look back, at that video of the Belgian blue calves being born, the difficult Belgian blues. That's that cow there, 543. Look, it's part of farming. When there's a problem, you look for the resolution, you do your best to fix it, and that's as good as you can do. So we will find the cure for this. We will find out what's going on. I've already made a lot of first steps towards that, and we will get to the bottom of it. It's something that has to be sorted. Right, so it's the following day, and yeah, still groggy. I've made a decision. We're after having a serious night's rain. I mean, a serious night's rain. I think I'm going to make the decision to put the cows in tonight. Yeah, put them in tonight. I wasn't expecting of doing that, but I think the time has come. Cows are out here now beside me. I'm grazing this field here now. As I said before, I'm giving them larger fields now. Oh yeah, there's plenty of grass and they're nice and content there. So I had a choice to make. Do I leave them out? Do I let them out night and day? And that means the grass will be gone in about 4 days. Then they'll be in full time because there'll be nothing at all for them. Or do I put them in the night, and then in that way I have 8 days of grass left for them to be out during the daytime. So 8 days out in the daytime, they might need that much then when they come in at night. If the weather does improve slightly, grass might grow a little bit and be able to keep them out for a little bit even longer during the daytime. So I made the choice. I think it's the right one. It's time for them to go in. As much as I hate it, as much as everybody hates it, because that's when the work starts, it's still the right decision. I just have to get this tank out of here, put it on the tractor. I need to use it tomorrow anyway, so I'm just going to leave it on the Massey. Then I have to put the bale splitter on the case and put on the Fleming's bale handler on the front to go off them 2 bars and just leave the spikes then ready so I can take a bale on the front, bale on the back from the other farm home. And yes, I'm not opening the pit. I'm using the bales first. That's what I normally always do. Use the bales up until close to Christmas and then we'll open the pit. And you'll find out then what that turned out like. I think it should be alright. That's the job for now. It's also my birthday today. And I swore I was going to take a little bit of time off, but it's actually going to be more busier than anything. So let's get at it. Right, so that's the tank on. At least one thing moved. The next thing I have to do now is strip off this case, the box at the back, take the forks to the front, and hook on our bale splitter, which is there, and our other Fleming's bale lifter, which is down there. So let's get that done. Yes. ready more or less on the case. I did grease the front axle as well, because I know a lot of people mentioned that, and you're right. The front axle is very important, because I'm going to be taking one on the front and one on the back home. Now I'm not going to be carrying the bales home the whole way like that. What I normally do then is I'll put the bales kind of in a line with the spike of this, and then I'll draw them home with the other tractor on the double bale lifter. It manages them much better. I'm not putting any extra stress on the little case. Not that it can handle it, it can. With our good Agri Stars that are on now, there's no problem with tyres or anything like that, but it's just, I don't want to put any extra weight on the front axle, especially, just not to wear things down, so I'll not be doing that very long. An awful lot of people also ask me about a trailer. Would you never get a trailer to draw them home? Maybe one day, yeah. Maybe one day I might get an old second-hand trailer, an old flat trailer of some sort, that could maybe take home 6-8 bales all in one go. So our house is over there in the distance. We're only 5 minutes over and back on the road, like, so it's not a big issue, and I'm over here twice a day anyway. So all I have to do now, instead of taking the quad, is just take the case from now on, or the Massey, and bring 2 bales home every time I'm over here, and that keeps the thing running. So it's not a major issue. Anyway, I'm not going to film any more today of putting them cows in, because there's just so much to do. This video would be far too long, so that'll be all in our next video. Thanks very much for watching. As always, if you haven't already, now's the time to hit that sub button, give us a like, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, we're even there on TikTok as well. And until the next one, talk to you again.